Hello, everybody, and welcome to Empires of the Undergrowth. And today we're doing something a bit different. My voice recording and the sound was damaged, and only I think half of the recording worked. So, what I've done is I'm just voicing over in situ. So, I figured we'll do a different way of presenting it. So, we went in and we tried episode 1.2. And on episode 1.2 of the missions list, we have to face some questionable eight legged freaks who steal and murder our pretty soft little ants. And on the other hand, we also have to face off against waves and waves of ants. And of course, we're doing it on an insane difficulty. And so, as you guys will see, here's how that went. 34. It took 34 total attempts to do this one. That was a struggle, and I was not just letting people sit through that because that was fucking painful. It took me 2 days to actually complete this mission of just hours of grinding, testing, and working things out. And also, I had to sit through this fucking screen again and again.
The defending colony was weak and not worth the effort of a prolonged raiding campaign. Instead, the aggressors slaughtered their would-be hosts. They are now moving on. There are more lucrative opportunities to be found elsewhere in the undergrowth.
But finally, we stumbled across a little bit of genius, a little bit of cheese, but also we managed to stumble across a way to set up appropriately before we get invaded by those horrible little slave maker ants. So, here is how I did it. See, what I didn't realise was that if we don't kill them spiders, or any funnel web spiders, then we don't get attacked. So up until that point, we can sneak around and collect food without triggering the invasion force, which allows us to build up. So as you see here, I dig a nice little path and try and sneak around as much of this as we can. We dug a lovely little path. We got ourselves in. All we had to do was disable food, which you see the mistake I make here in a moment, is I get our workers killed because they've come to collect food. And spider grabs a bug, comes out, grabs another one. But if you see down at the bottom, we've turned that off. Now we've opened up here. We've triggered the attack of the little beetles or beetle larvae. And this is important. The important bit is to disable the food gathering as you're sneaking around. And this allows us to remotely trigger, get us to a point with like a good amount of no food, and remotely trigger the attack without killing the spider, because that'll set it off. That way we can gather a nice big stockpile and grab. So as you can see here, we have the ants running up and trying to grab the food inside the layer. And so disable the food gather really quick, get them to hide out the way. And then what I'm going to do is manually, when I'm ready, well, I've moved them now, but like manually when I'm ready, is get them to collect food without going into that nest. So we don't trigger losing our ants, but also we don't attack the funnel web. So the reason we ran over to the left side to do this is because we only have one funnel web to deal with. If we went to the right, we have 2, 3, and there's no way of getting past them without having to kill one, thus triggering the invasion force. I actually stumbled across this in like, I think it was like attempt number 3031, but I realized, I think I'd done it several times, but I realized like we're not actually getting invaded yet until I kill one of these fuckers. So it took a lot of trial and error, but that's how we got there. So just note what I'm about to do. We get all our ants nice hiding over here. We enable the food gather. We grab all their food, thus ignoring the funnel webs layer. Travelling past. Now this one is going to get snagged up, and so is the next one, as they're there trying to gather this food. So then you just disable it again, run them all the way back over to their nice little corner, and then enable the food gather again once they're all gathered nice and tightly, and we don't have to worry about the funnel web. Okay, so once we've gathered up all the food, what we do, we simply go in, we'll kill this funnel web, we'll grab what we need, and then we'll start triggering that invasion force. Now, we build up a small amount of workers, but a lot more warriors to fend off those initial couple of invasions. The reason why we build up the workers is that the workers are just on permanent gather, but no attack. You know, it depends, but like they're basically on permanent gather, and you want them to just be constantly chipping away and bringing food to the colony, whilst your soldiers go around and quickly and efficiently, on no food gather now, get rid of all the funnel webs in the vicinity that we've opened up. In this case, I'd opened up down here, so I was clearing this area out first. Then we have this massive area now to stick a ton of worker ants in, a ton of warrior ants in, and then we're just going to go around and systematically eliminate the funnel webs. Now, I went over to the right side because I can get in and get food close to the colony first. We wanted to just be grabbing as much food as possible at the whilst these invasions and bullshit's coming in. And as you can see, we've had our first slaver ant take the egg, which is just the trigger point, and then now we're going to get a load of load of slave maker ants coming in and invading. But this time, unlike the last few times, this time we now have a nice, great starting position and starting pot of ants to work with. I still have to time this right, because you don't want your ants running around beating up funnel web spiders whilst your nest is being invaded. Now we get down here, perfect amount of food over here with all these grubs, woodworm I think they are, and we'll be able to quickly gather. As you see me select gather, let's just get all these ants in, let's get this nice big chunk going and get this food to the colony. Now, when I stuck the food pot down, I haven't really shown this, I've just shoved it there, right by the entrance. You see where I was just placing the marker then? I shoved them right by the entrance, therefore, because the slave ants don't care about your food. Otherwise, this would be way harder. They just don't care about your food. So, you can stick your food there. They're not going to steal that. They're after the eggs and the eggs only. So that's why we shove all our warriors in the entrance, try and pick them off one by one to start with, even though more will be coming in. And also, as you can see, creates a nice little blockade for the slave maker ants trying to run away with our eggs. And there's a chance we can turn around and kill them off. So we ended up upgrading a bunch of our ants, not just to make them tankier, but also to do a lot more damage to those spiders and to the slave maker ants. We then worked on fending off several waves, as you can see here, which is happening right now. And in amongst these waves, we're just using the worker ants to come and collect the food. We're just going to keep this supply run going because we need to. We're going to get crushed otherwise. And I always place them by the entrance so that we have that chance of double back kill. And as you see, there was a short wave because the AI hasn't been able to build us up wave after wave, which is not only building up just the sheer insanity of the amount of enemies that we're facing, but also whittling us down bit by bit by bit. This is where having that stockpile at the beginning has come in so handy. And as you can see, we've got a ton more workers now and a bunch more ants. So as you can see on this one, this waves are just starting to get more and more difficult. So being quite conscious of this now that we are fucking struggling, and we're losing ants left, right, and centre. The final horde, if you will, is going to be coming at us thick and fast. So what we needed to do is we needed to get ourselves doing these objectives, because the objective at the end of the day is to upgrade and build out and flesh out those workers. You can see I've done it with the soldier ants. Now we need to do it with the worker ants last because they're cheaper and easier. But for that, again, we need food. So I'm even just sending our worker ants out. Come on, soldier ants, go get this food. Worker ants, go grab this food. We're gonna gather this up and very quickly get ourselves an upgrade, facing off, I think, only one more horde after this, one more wave after this. We don't have to clear out the funnel webs. We can wait for that. What we need to do is get this objective done, face the final wave, and then, and only then, will we complete the game. Otherwise, it will just snowball to the point where you ain't fighting it, you ain't winning. So conscious of that, I was trying to jump as quickly as I could to complete the objectives now that we've established a good enough worker base and good enough food. And as you can see, survived the final wave. Final wave coming in 12 seconds. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's jump right into that. So here we are then, final wave, and oh my god. And with it being the final wave, I even chucked the worker ants in, because, it doesn't matter. This is the final wave, let's just get this over and done with. I kept the brood nest guys, hopefully come in and replenish some eggs for us. But as you can see, given our upgraded area, our nice reserves of food, we were able to chip away. It was a bit of a close one, but those reinforcements coming in and just absolutely fucking spanking the slave maker ants. That was objective complete.
Once again, the slave makers return to their nest with new black ant larvae to raise as their own. The raids will continue, but this Formica fusca colony has proved its capacity to endure and grow. Eventually they will surpass their parasitic overseers, and the continued raids of the slave makers will reduce to nothing more than a mere inconvenience for the great Black Ant Empire.
And as you can see, we ended up winning, finally. Jesus, that was a struggle, but we got there in the end. We took the Royal Jelly, of course, because that's going to help us with upgrades for the Formicarium challenge, which will be the next challenge that we're going to do on this channel. That should be a nice short video, because the Formicarium challenges aren't... they are difficult, but they're not necessarily as hard as that mission was. But yeah, that is basically where we're going to leave it. As you can see, we've got tons of food up here now. We're going to go collect that, send our hordes forth, and gather up what we need ready for the next challenge. But that is going to be in the next video. Let me know how you've thought about this editing style, or the way I've done it this way. And it's a lot more cutting and it's a lot shorter. And that's what it was aimed to be at, was to be a lot shorter of a video. And also, just circumstances forced my hand. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that other bullshit. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.